Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, welcome to our presentation about the implementation of the Upsize project. My name is Lisa Wenzel and I'm from Ulm University. Together with my colleague Galia Moran from the Ben Gurion University of the Negev, we will talk about first experiences in the implementation process of Upsize in Germany and Israel. And I will start right away by talking about Germany's early experiences in the implementation process of Upsize. So just a little bit about a consortium. So as you can see, it's a multi-central research project. We have various recruiting sites, which include Uganda, Tanzania, Israel, and India. For Germany, we have 2 recruiting sites, which includes the cities Ulm as well as Hamburg. So what we implement in Germany is peer support based on a one-on-one intervention. And the aim or the reason why we implement this is to enhance social inclusion of people with mental health problems, as well as to decrease stigmatization of mental health. But how do we implement this? We are using an approach to inform the design, implementation, and evaluation of our intervention, which is called the theory of change, or short TOC. The TOC map will offer us a helpful tool to guide the implementation process of the Upsize peer intervention in Germany. Throughout the next steps of the project, we can use the map to present, visualize, and discuss the Upsize implementation in various settings. So for developing a German TOC map, Hamburg and Ulm first developed site-specific TOC maps. Those 2 first independent maps were then merged into one cross-site map, which was recently analyzed in 3 TOC workshops in Ulm and in Hamburg. The results of these workshops are currently evaluated to create a verified and extended cross-site TOC map. And I would like to present you the current status of our TOC map in more detail on the next slide. The theory of change provides a theory of how and why an intervention works by developing a causal path to the desired impact. Therefore, the development of a TOC map starts with the definition of the desired impact to which a project wants to contribute. In Upsize, improving social inclusion of people with mental illness and reducing the stigma of mental illnesses is defined as a desired impact. Afterwards, the intermediate outcomes are defined and arranged into a causal path. The ceiling of accountability represents the threshold where the evaluation of the intermediate goals is stopped, and the project has no longer influence on. The TOC map for Germany consists of a total of 6 causal paths. The first 2 causal paths deal with the development of an interprofessional care network as well as peer support workers and the training. After completing the training, peer support workers need to be integrated into teams so that peer support can be offered during and after the project. It is mandatory that other professions know about peer support and that it is represented and accessible in different settings in order to develop a local and international peer support worker network. Only then peer support meets the minimum standards of Upsize. Service users are defined along the 4th causal path. The main aim here is to address people in the region and to inform them that peer support can help to overcome their crisis. An appropriate diet is sought between peer support worker and service user, and accessibility in different target groups is needed to ensure an active network. What we also need is the involvement of psychiatric institutions and professionals, as well as a clear and transparent positioning of peer support in the local care system to offer a rich and varied range of peer projects for people to choose from. I would like to say thank you especially to Selina Gierit, Annabel Müller-Stierlin, Ramona Hittensperger, Rebecca Nixdorf, and Candelaria Marke, who are developing the Germany TOC map, as well as to all the others who helped to develop the Upsize theory of change. Thank you for your attention. I will now hand over to Galia.
Thank you, Lisa. My name is Galia Moran, and I am the PI of Upside's peer support project in Israel, and I will share a little bit about our experiences in Israel we've had quite an interesting process with Upsides. We actually started testing Upsides as a one-on-one intervention, in-person intervention, blended into mentoring services in Israel. But quite quickly, we found out that this does not work for us, and we changed it from one-on-one to a group intervention, where we have 3 to 4 service users joining into a small group called Chevruta. Chevruta is a term in Hebrew coming from Hebrew tradition, which means companionship. And in this small group was to be facilitated by peer support workers, which fits very well with the principles. The companionship fits very well with principles of mutuality, reciprocity, and all the other principles related to peer support. So this Hevruta was planned to go on for at least 12 meetings in a small group format. The small group format is also very adaptive to the organizational structure in Israel and the state of mental health peer support in Israel. Because in fact, while we already have consumer providers in Israel, we have a substantial number of individuals with a lived experience who are working blended into mental health services. These people often do not disclose having a mental illness or do not share their experiences in order to help others, which can be sometimes a shame. And this happens for several reasons. And what we wanted to do with Upsides is to really allow those who are interested to become mental health peer support workers and to learn how to use their lived experience to help others in a more formal role of peer support to actually do that. And what you see up on the left of the presentation is a poster that was developed by peer support workers who came into the training and were exploring their recovery. The word in red that is written there says hachlama, which is recovery. And this poster signifies the depth of work that the peer support workers did in training to really learn and understand their recovery and how they can use it to help others. So what we had is a training that went off in November 2019. They were 18 peer support workers, consumer providers who wanted to become peer support workers came into the training, and they were trained by 2 peer support workers. In February, we had the chance to begin the intervention with 8 small groups who met in Jerusalem and in the Tel Aviv area. And there was a very high motivation on the side of the peer support workers. They came in very enthusiastic, very feeling kind of an ideology, in a mission to come and bring in the mission of peer support. They created a high-mish atmosphere with snacks and with little booklets and things that kind of had everybody connect with each other. There was very quickly authentic connections among the groups. And this came across diverse populations because some of these 8 groups included ultra-Orthodox participants, and some of them were secular. Some of them were only female or male. Some of them were mixed, but across the board, it started off very well. However, after a month, as COVID came in, we had a lockdown and we had to freeze the intervention. Luckily, we could continue it in June, and in the lockdown freeze, we really took the time to keep the connection with the peer support workers. So thank you for listening to our little bit of our experiences. We're very happy to be in contact. You can contact us through these emails and keep in touch.